it goes. I'm on a road. Follow your heart. It won't let you down. Follow your heart. Take the steps beyond your way. Take the steps. When you have a dream, you gotta start. It's the only way. If you're gonna shine, and you're gonna shine, shine, shine. You're gonna shine. And here we are, shining bright on the ranch once again tonight. I'm always thrilled. Monday night are just the best place to be, is right here on the ranch, because we are bringing you the best in indie Americana music. And I span the globe. I go all over the place to find you guys some really up and coming great artists. And tonight, I kind of am in my own backyard and I didn't know it. He's a fellow podcaster, fellow musician, fellow Pennsylvanian, but I don't know, Craig, when you don't know what Music Fest is, I don't know if I can count you as a Pennsylvanian.
Well, keep in mind, Pennsylvania does cover like what, 400 square miles across. I often talk to people from Eastern PA, even though you mentioned you're from close to Allentown where Music Fest is available. There is some similarities to Pittsburgh and to Allentown, Bethlehem area proper. But when you get into like Philadelphia, there is no comparison to the two. So I really haven't spent that much time out there, but now that you have told me about Music Fest, it is definitely now on the calendar. So see you next year.
Definitely. Maybe you could do the ranch in person. How cool would that be? I haven't done that yet.
I'd be more than delighted to. I'm already having a great time, and I just met you, 10 minutes before we went live on this thing?
I know. Teach you all kinds of stuff. For anyone listening who doesn't know what Music Fest is, it's first 2 weeks of August in Bethlehem. They close off good like 3 miles of the city, and they set up vendors and like 7-10 stages, and you just keep walking around listening to free music. There's I think there's over 300 acts playing during that 10-day stretch, and it's just an amazing, which makes us way better than Pittsburgh. I mean,
well, I look, I go all over the country, and I've never really made a hierarchy of places that I love to go to, or say one place is better than the other. I will reserve the right for you to be wrong at a later date, but I'm more than happy. I'll be more than happy to do my own research at a later date.
That's a future podcast, our hierarchy of great music towns.
Any town doing music is a great town in my book.
It's true. Although, as a country, Americana artist in Pennsylvania, I have come to find, there are pockets around the world of country Americana music.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's not like I think down south, it's more prevalent, but up here, it's here and exists, and there's great music. But I think we have to look at it a lot harder.
I would disagree with that. Being from Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh has 2 country stations, commercial country stations. They are right in the middle. Like there's a lot of blue counties, but there's a lot of red surrounding those counties as well. So I've noticed that Pittsburgh is a little bit more country than you would think. I mean, it is much like where you come from. It's a warm, recovering industrial town. The steel mills have long since, there's like one left in Pittsburgh, but there is still very much that ethos, that working man, working lady ethos that country music speaks to. Heck, Working Man Blues, one of the best songs that Merle Haggard ever came out with. That could describe several of my neighbors, several of my relatives, several of my friends, including people who are in music.
I totally agree with that. And country music has changed so much in what they're calling country music. And even rock, which is, again, working man, they're now calling country, different styles. And, what it is. And, by today's standards, more things fall into the country genre that, even people who don't think they're country are country.
Music's always been one of a melting pot kind of mentality. I mean, rock and roll, think about it. It's country and western, it's popular music, it's blues music combined into that nice little stew that came out of Memphis in the 50s. And ever since then, I think every music always has this kind of amalgamation and evolution at certain points. And I never want to get to a point where I've kind of shut my mind off to any new evolution, because at the end of it, if you want to get into purity tests about country music, then listen to the Carter Family and don't listen to anything else. Beyond that, I never want to be the one that even then it's all subjective. It's what your tastes are, it's what you prefer, it's what you value. It's a healthy thing to always ask, why do you like what you like? Why do you know what you know? And I think that is something that a lot of that younger influence always brings a new perspective, a new flavor to the stew. And it's always a welcome thing to my ears anytime.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's a great analogy of looking at even rock and roll, of how different sounds really came together and melted together. I think country's going through one of those infusions really right now of, evolving. And there's a lot of new sounds and even some people rapping country music, which is really kind of cool.
They've always rapped. What was Devil Went Down to Georgia? What was A Boy Named Sue?
Devil, you consider that a rap? Devil Went Down to Georgia? Okay.
Some would argue that it's more of a maybe a poem, maybe a chant, maybe a dramatic monologue, but it's spoken word over music. What is rap music?
Spoken word of right. I think it's a stretch, but I see where you're going. Although I always argue with rappers and they get mad at this. I said, what was the first #1 rap song to hit #1 on the charts? And they say, "Oh, but I said, no, I'll tell you who it was. It was a girl." And they're like, "No, don't you say Blondie. Don't you say Blondie." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah.
Name checking, Fat Five, Freddy, and everything. Yep."
And then they kind of go crazy.
It's, as the kids are fond of saying, cringeworthy in retrospect. But I do love Debbie Harry, and I love that Blondie was always known for always trying something different. They came out of that CBGB new wave kind of stuff, and they were good at that. But they had some great disco stuff. They had some really great straight A rock songs, and yes, Debbie even rapped at one point. So, and that's always been kind of the thing that I've always reached to as an artist myself. I never really want to be pigeonholed to one thing. My previous record was a country bluegrass record called Letters to the Defendant. The Vagabond EP, before a string of modern country singles, was kind of a Tom Petty motif. And so I'm always trying to find new avenues and new sounds. And I like to be one of those artists that you can listen to the record and know what I was into when I put that record out. And because my cover shows and my Spotify and YouTube playlists all have identity crises.
And as it should be, like, you go to song by song and let a song be what it wants to be. And we got some people listening tonight. So again, we can see your comments. So feel free to let us know where you're watching from. Again, is there a country rap song that you like? Or what is Devil Gone Down to Georgia? Is that a rap song? Let's hear what you guys think. We have some people watching. So I'd love to get some feedback on this. And again, we are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7. So again, thank you for joining in with us tonight. So let's see. Let's talk about your first song, because I agree songs should go genre to genre by your lyrics, by the feel, what you're going for. Let it be what it wants to be. So tell me about Miss Me. It's our first song that we're going to be listening to.
Well, Miss Me is kind of the climax of the record I mentioned already, Letters to the Defendant. It is a country bluegrass hybrid about the downfall of my marriage. The synopsis of it is this: I drank, she left, and then I filed for divorce. Hence why I, the plaintiff, am writing a letter to the defendant in this record. And Miss Me, I kind of envisioned it almost as an Adele kind of song because it had that very emotional, very revealing, almost too much information given in that kind of a song. But it was basically me telling her, goodbye forever because you left me for dead. You don't get to miss me. And this will be a demonstration of kind of the sound that I was going for. Dobro, no percussion, fiddle, banjo. John Porble, who produced the record, is playing piano, but that's the only time piano makes an appearance on the record. You'll hear that more predominantly, and If Only a Smile Could Change My Mind later on. But this song, in the context of Letters to the Defendant, is the definite climax of the record because that's basically goodbye to the defendant.
By the defendant. But wasn't the defendant, did you say the defendant drank?
Oh no, I was the drinker. So she imbibed a little bit. Her and I don't want to say too much ill about it because it was 2 years ago. We haven't spoken in that amount of time, and I'd like to keep it that way, quite frankly. And so I basically but yeah, I was, and I am. I'll be celebrating my 30-year sobriety at the end of June, and this was kind of the record of me kind of clearing up the wreckage, gaining some perspective. I might have been wrong about a few things. In fact, I was wrong about a few things, especially holding on to the anger in this record. But the fact of the matter was that, this is how at the very least, I was processing it. I was feeling it. And at the very least, I was able to do something other than drink and other than destroy myself. So, which honestly is what music has always been there for me to be, for the better part of my life. It's been the salvation, and it's been the thing that's given me the perspective and the strength to carry on.
Well, congratulations on 30 years. That's amazing.
But one day at a time, maybe.
One day, yeah, we're still at it. One day at a time. It's perfect. And I got to tell you, you can write a breakup song.
I have a friend of mine that would agree with you. His name is Alex Wisniewski, and he is the guitar player for my friend Megan Pennington's band, Moonshine Jasmine. He was in my backup band, The Vagabonds, for a little bit, and I had heard him say this secondhand. Sorry for tattling on the guy, but I heard him say when he heard the new batch of songs I wrote about my most recent breakup, he said, God, Craig and his Taylor Swift ass. He needs to go through a breakup every couple of years just to write some good songs.
He does, and Billy.
I don't recommend it, but maybe.
Yeah, Billy's watching, and he's congratulating you too on your 30 years.
I saw that. Thank you very much, Billy.
Yeah, but there is some, breakup. Taylor Swift. She did start in country. She isn't there anymore, but she did start in country. So
lyrically, you'd be surprised, but
right. All right, let's listen to Miss Me.
How do you say that you wish we never part when you're the one who left, you're the one who broke my heart? How do you say that I'm always on your mind? Well, you should have thought of that before you left me to die. You're so afraid, you're so alone. Even if you love me, I don't care anymore. You don't get to miss me, you don't get to cry. You can rest your head alone like it must be true for me. I try not to think of you, I try to be happy. You're so afraid, so sad to hear. You were so brave when you walked out, my dear. You don't get to miss me, you don't get to cry. You can rest your head alone in bed and they'll have to lie. Don't say you miss me from lips that spoke the broken vow. So nothing happens now. You don't get to miss me, you don't get to miss me. No, no, you don't. No, no, no. You're so afraid, that don't seem strange. You're stuck on 22 love, and you're never gonna change. You're so afraid, so full of sorrow. You made it so clear where you go, I can't follow. You don't get to miss me, you don't get to cry. You can rest your head alone in bed and they'll have to lie. Don't say you miss me from lips that spoke the broken vow. So nothing happens now. No, nothing happens now. You don't get to miss me, you don't get to miss me. No, you don't, you don't. So nothing happens now. How dare you?
All right, and we are back on the ranch. We are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7, your one stop for all indie artists. It's a great place to find new music, and if you're an indie artist, you want to be there showcasing your music, and they are really supportive of indie artists. You keep everything that you make from the site. It's a really good place to be. We also have our radio stations listening all over the world. We got France, we have My Indie Radio. Love you guys listening. And we go to California for the Plow Zone, also streaming the ranch. Glad to have you guys on board. We're also brought to you by Hotel Universe. Again, if you're a musician, you need some really quality looking videos. They'll help you out. Tell them Randie sent you. They'll make you a really inexpensive lyric video, MP3s. They'll help you out. They really will. So To The Max Advertising, they made some of my banners and they hooked me up too. So again, we're all about indie artist support here. So tonight we have Craig VELTRI and all three of these are kind of breakup songs that we're going to be listening to.
Biloxi, not so much. It's more of a call for reuniting. I would just say that if only a smile could change my mind, really is just an outline of why I am not boyfriend material. But Miss Me is definitely, and the horse you rode in on, if I can use a ranching analogy.
Right. Oh, love ranching analogies. Love them. So you brought up the sobriety in the music business. They don't seem to always go hand in hand.
No, and having worked in Nashville off and on for the last 10 years, oftentimes it's encouraged. The fact is, it's just
not to be sober.
Not to be sober. In fact, to be the party host and get as many shots as you can up to the stage on some circuits. Others are rather respectful. And in fact, and what I've been finding is that's just a matter of you can make that slip really, because at the end of the day, Nashville is never going to be the problem. It's always going to be up here. That's going to be the problem. So I made a very clear boundary that, I don't drink ever. So I can say honestly that I'm in bars more often than I was when I was drinking. And the difference
How
is
is
I
that
actually
for
walk.
you? Because again, as a counselor on the other side, I've done addiction
Really?
work for 30 years. So I think stay out of a bar. New people, places, and thing is the mantra.
It's true, very true. But it's well-meaning advice. I wouldn't recommend anybody with absolutely no tools to handle being around alcohol to go into. If you have like less than 90 to 60 days, I certainly wouldn't recommend it. I didn't have that luxury because I had to get back to work. But
Right, right.
if there's one thing that I learned in my recovery was how to be honest. So I was upfront very early on. After a while, I mean, it doesn't go unnoticed. People offer to buy me drinks, and my standard line is, I don't want to drink, but I will take the money.
Download a song right now. Do it. Do it. That's how
I'm
you
talking to you.
support an artist. Buy our stuff.
Yeah. We only get a cent per stream right now. I mean,
We don't even 0.0004 cents per stream.
so a whole dollar in the bucket is more than getting the word out and the exposure to us at the moment. So grateful to anybody that does, and just grateful to be in the moment and still being able to do this, because the fact of the matter is there's really only one end to somebody who was as low bottom as I was at that point. The next step was dying, and I really didn't care if I did. And the fact that I didn't meant that I was going to make sure that at the age of, it doesn't really matter, but I will not blow up my life again. I need to find a more healthier way to cope and figure out better strategies to live my life. And in 3 years, the only regret that I have is that I didn't do it sooner. But these time takes time, and it almost took everything. And to everything there's a season, if you will.
Right. Well, I'm glad you found your way, and I'm sure this is the short story of how hard it really was, because
I wrote enough. I mean, there's a song on the record called "The Whiskey Has Its Way." If you want to look into the self-pity and the despair that I was in at that point in my life, I welcome you to listen to it, because I really don't like performing it, because I hope you've gotten the vibe off of me that I like to be very lighthearted. I don't like to bring the room down as if I can. It. So so I try to be a little bit, be where I am in my life, joyous and free. So I may explore it later on, but for the most part, it's most of the songs that I'm writing about now are processing breakups, detailing my life, and also helping not only other alcoholics achieve sobriety, but also helping other writers that I come across to realize some ideals and maybe get some feedback on where I can better my songs or just make the song happen. So I'm not really in a, so I did the woe is me, where my mind was at the time, and it's there. I made it. Let's move on.
Yeah, you had to do it though. I mean, you're transitioning, you're changing mindsets, and you're working through what got you there and how you're going to get yourself out of there. And now you're out of it and kind of not looking back. And I like that. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
And I even like, people, honest artists who can go up there and say, I'm having a good time and I don't really need to, be drinking to do it. I'm sure you don't say it like that, obviously.
Oh no, I'm far from a teetotaler. Look, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I've heard it said that a beer and a shot is a birthright. So trust me, I know better than to go into a bar and draw attention to it. Sometimes Sometimes I'll make a mention of it when I have one song in particular. And I'm introducing it, and I mentioned my sobriety, but it's purely one of misdirection, because the song itself is not about sobriety or really about whiskey at all. And I'll leave. It's a song called Bourbon in Kentucky. It'll be on a future release, so just keep your eye out for it, and you'll see the punchline later, or just come to a show.
Right. Because you're writing country songs, whiskey's going to show up somewhere.
Sometimes right in front, sometimes just in the plain old writing rooms. I mean, heavens, I've gone to one writing place that I've done some writing in Nashville. They actually literally have a whiskey flight available for sale at the front of the bar. Your business. I'm not telling you how to run yours. I'm fine. I mean, I'm honestly, I'm not whistling by the graveyard when it comes to a bar or whiskey. You know, it worked for me when it worked, and if somebody can have one or two and walk away, bravo. I wish I could, but that's not how I drink, so therefore I don't.
Bye, Billy.
Thanks for listening, Bill.
Yeah, thanks
Hope
for
you
hanging
listen to the rest.
in. Yeah, buy the record. Everyone download the record. And again, you can always find us on Blast Music 24/7 or the YouTube. So we keep this up. We even have been putting up shorts of the show, which have been really doing well. That way you can get little snippets if there's certain topics people want to revisit. So that's been going nicely too. So yeah, it is a process. In Nashville, I was actually disappointed when I say this a lot. I was disappointed when I went down to Nashville to Music Row, which is now a party cover band. You know, do you know this? That if you're in Music Row and you're playing in a band, you can't play original music. You can get banned from the strip.
Well, I think you're describing Lower Broadway. Music Row itself is still very active. It actually does have, in its third iteration, a place called Bobby's Idle Hour that hosts original music every day, every hour of every day.
Okay.
Bobby's Idle Hour. Tell them Craig sent you, and well, actually, don't tell them sent you. They might throw you out jazz style from Fresh Prince. But no. Some really great folk run there. There's actually a guitar pool there every Wednesday from 1 to 5. My friend C4 runs an afternoon gig, and of course, they have showcases every night, and with some some heavy hitters come through. Of course, the Commodore Grill has always done that, and of course the Stand by the Bluebird, which I've yet to even apply to at this point, but not for fear, but because I just can't get through the damn website. But Music Row is definitely still where writers meet up and writers and music happens on there. So 17th and 16th Avenue North in Nashville still has that well-deserved mystique. Broadway, on the other hand, it is 100 different bars, all of them playing cover tunes, all of them doing rather aggressive bucket running to make tips, because the base pay is so low for these artists if they get one at all. And so I do dip my toe into that neighborhood time to time when I'm in Nashville just to make a couple of bucks. But I did that for two or 3 years, 2 shows, 3 shows sometimes a night, and there are many others that are doing the quad 4. So and the burnout is real when you do something like that. And bravo to anybody. In fact, I will say this: you show me somebody who burned out on Lower Broadway, and I'll show you somebody who was drinking on the job. So,
good point.
So, if you are in shape, if you have the stamina, and if you have the will to make yourself a lot of money down on Lower Broadway, I will not be the one to discourage you to do that. I'm just at a point in my life where I know what I want to do with the rest of my career, and I'd rather be writing and performing my original music. And there are really only 3 cities in America that you can do that, maybe 5, but 3 for sure: New York, LA, or Nashville. And I lived in Nashville, so I already have some contacts. So away we go.
Right. Although I want to add to that list, because again, spanning the globe as I do, there are some pockets, especially globally, that I definitely have on the list. Like even Austin, Texas is that would
be a 4th one, though. That city I found is more in at least people I've talked to from Austin. I really haven't spent much time in Austin, but from what I've heard, and maybe I could be corrected here, it's a lot more leaning in the live music. Not a lot of people are getting signed out of there these days.
No one's getting signed out of anything.
fair enough. But
Yeah, I mean, you know. Oh, all right. We're gonna listen to one of your songs, and then we'll go, you know, back to that. We'll open that can of worms. Okay. Talk to me about Biloxi.
Biloxi, I would not say is my my favorite song, but I do believe that it is my strongest song. You were talking about how the song comes out earlier. Well, this song, the first line kind of hit me. I was sitting in my car, I want to say about 2019, maybe late 2018, and I'm sitting in a car right by the Parthenon in Nashville, Centennial Park in Nashville, right by Vanderbilt. And I'm sitting in my car, and the line hits me: "Will you meet me in Biloxi?" I believe at the time my ex and I were talking about places we'd vacation to. Neither of us had ever been to Biloxi because, you know, we're thinking coastal cities. So I had Biloxi on the mind, and I also had some woman on my mind that I had let go and was thinking what might have been. And so I was already having doubts about my marriage at that point. And so, and you know, going back to, you know, to the fear that I had back then, the only response I had was blow it up and run away. And so I kind of wrote that song as, you know, an intention of saying, let's meet somewhere that neither of us, me and the woman I'm writing this song to, let's meet somewhere that neither of us have ever been to. Therefore, no one will think to look for us there. And from there, we can run away. I'm told it's romantic.
Okay, let's hear it. Biloxi.
Will you meet me in Biloxi, where we can start again? We'll meet as long-lost lovers, or just long-lost friends. Make your way and I'll be waiting by the lighthouse on the shore. And if you meet me in Biloxi, I'll be yours forevermore. Oh, how I've longed to hold you, feel the magic in your touch. Thought we weren't meant to be, and it didn't mean that much. And since we've never been, no one will know us there. They won't know where we went. We might have a prayer. So will you meet me in Biloxi, where we can start again? We'll meet as long-lost lovers, or just as long-lost friends. Make your way and I'll be waiting by the lighthouse on the shore. And if you meet me in Biloxi, I'll be yours forevermore. Oh, how I've longed to kiss you, feel your arms around my neck. Thought the time it wasn't right, and it was for the best. I was wrong, and though I've heard it's a fine place to stay, we won't be long for Biloxi. From there we'll make our getaway. So will you meet me in Biloxi, where we can start again? We'll meet as long-lost lovers, or just long lost friends. Make your way and I'll be waiting by the lighthouse on the shore. Yeah, and if you meet me in Biloxi, I'll be yours forevermore. I'll be waiting in Biloxi to be yours forevermore.
And we are back on the ranch, brought to you by Blast Music 24/7. And we got my indie radio coming out of France listening in. Love to have you guys aboard, and Plow Zone out of California. So glad to have you with us Mondays and Thursdays when you guys stream. We're here with Craig VELTRI, who just got the girl.
Actually, no. The actress Allegra Brie Moreno is married out in out west. So no, that would not be the girl, and no girl is currently gotten at the moment. So,
Oh my God, you're as bad as me. But
in what way, Randie?
Huh?
In what way, Randie?
Well, we'll talk about that after the show.
Okay. Hey. I say.
All right, what I want to circle back to. We brought this up really briefly, just, mentioning the whole record company or record deals and stuff. And there's kind of a myth out there that you need a record company to be successful in the music business.
No, let me back up a little bit and say this. When a band or an artist starts out in their career, they will take on many hats, but one of the big ones that they will wear is that of an entrepreneur. They are running their own business. They are running. I'm Craig VELTRI Productions LLC, greeting you today. Because apparently corporations are people legally. And I am more than happy to say that anybody who runs their own business sets their own standard. I accept the fact that perhaps I am not going to be walking among the giants of the industry. Wembley in the round will probably not happen for me, as niches and hard to pin down as my music is going to be. And I admit, I've worked for me for the last 3 years. I will never work for me again. But I will say also that, if they want the people that want the big deal and are out there to get the big deal, maybe it's out there because the industry, I have said even to me that the record business is dead. I would often say that I've seen enough entertainment evolve as the medium evolves. It's certainly been disrupted over the years, but dead. People are still making music. People are still buying music. People are still going to concerts more than ever. Right. So going back to my overall point about music in general, it's not dead because somebody doesn't understand it. It's just different now, and we are kind of left to navigate to figure out what success means to us and what a sustainable business model means for the individual artists and companies in general mean going forward. And I think we're getting closer.
Right. There's a lot there to unpack because as your own entrepreneur, you have to act as your own record company, as your own, business person. And, some people can parlay that and, can write songs and market songs and do live songs. If not, you build a team, to do that. But I think the biggest takeaway there, Craig, is you have to define yourself as what is success.
Yes, exactly.
Because there's a lot of balls to have in the air at one time, to be your own record company or in the music business, and some people just want to do live shows and that's all they want to do. And that's what they're successful at. Go for it. Some have moved into original music, and then you have to define your idea of success, because if you are successful in Spotify, doesn't mean you're going to make any money on Spotify.
Oh gosh, I mean, it's like the old trick about the old joke I've heard about Nashville. How do you make $2 million in Nashville? Spend $1 million. That's kind of how you get on Spotify and feed that machine and be able to get your name out there in that aspect. And it's been, there've been lawsuits aplenty trying to circumvent that. But I will, so I will say this. I kid myself as a boss, but the fact is I don't answer to anybody at the moment as far as my music is concerned. If I fail in one venue or fail in one venture, okay, there are about 100,000 venues and even as many towns in this country. I've learned over the last 2 years that I can pick up list of venues in any city in America, and there you go. I have a tour. At the very least, I have a place that I can kind of hover around and still have steady work. I mean, I don't live well. I really don't even have my own place at the moment, but I am, still, it's coming. The acorns are being saved at the moment, but the fact of the matter is that I am at a point in my life where I don't fear that, and I kind of roll with it, and I'm happy in play than I've ever been.
Oh, that's really good. It's a good place to be when you're content with your music and you're doing music for the sake of doing music.
Absolutely.
That's really what it's all about. And we have your last song, If Only a Smile Could Change My Mind.
Well, as mentioned, I wrote that song at the end of my marriage and the beginning of a relationship that I was falling into pretty immediately after. I won't say how immediately after my marriage had dissolved, but I looked at this woman and I found every reason why this was not going to work out, because I looked at the past of where I was, and I said to myself, I was never going to love anybody more than I was going to love my career and my recovery, though not in that order. And that's kind of what I put on paper. The three gut blows at, shots to the gut, if you will, miss me, goodbye to my ex, if only a smile could change my mind, goodbye to the idea of ever getting marriage and monogamy for that matter, and can't come back, which is a song goodbye to a certain part of a city in North Carolina that I really don't feel any need or want to ever lay eyes upon again. And the last song is called The Good Guy, which is, okay, this is where I want to go and where I'm heading off in the narrative of it. But yeah, like I said, If Only a Smile Could Change My Mind is definitely not what I'm putting on my Tinder profile. And why do I need a Tinder profile? Because I'm always out and meeting people. So there you go.
All right. Not on your Tinder profile, but a good song. If Only a Smile Could Change My Mind. Here we go.
If only a smile could change my mind, I'd stop being on the run. I'd give up the life, I'd give up the chase, and you'd be the only one. But soon you'll just want to win, not merely to contend. And all the things that charm you now, you'll hate it in the end. If only a touch could change my mind and mend this broken heart, I'd open the gates and while running through, I'd dismiss all the guards. And soon this fragile fortress, you'll burn it from the inside. Not to say you're all the same, but I've watched you change your mind. So don't make no plans for me, I'll never fit that mold. more afraid of dying fate that would hurt more than dying alone. If only love could change my mind, I'd buy another ring. I'd save this dream only for sleep, and only to you I'd sing. But I wasn't made for staying. I was born ready to leave. You're better off to believe in my song, knowing better than to believe in me. This guitar never let me down, and it's easier to hold. I won't turn down a night here or there, but I'm fine with dying alone. If only a smile could change my mind, and a touch could keep me still. I felt it slow me, consume and own me, and bend me to its will. I've spent all my life being told what I'm supposed to do. You may say that won't be you. I'm sorry, I've heard that one too. I wasn't made for staying. I was born ready to leave. Take this song and feel my love. That's the best you'll get from me.
And we are back on the ranch. We are brought to you by Blast Music 24/7. One stop for all indie artists. If you're looking for new music or looking for a great place to host your songs and network with other artists, you need to be on Blast Music 24/7. We have Indie Music Radio, also tuning in from France. Love to have you guys listening, in Plow Zone over in California. If any indie artist, Americana artist, wants to be on the ranch, you can just go to my website, Randie, RandieOneil.com/shows, and you could apply to be on the ranch, and we could have you here just like Craig did. So glad to have you. Yeah. So we can call that last one a kind of a near miss.
Define in regards to the subject matter.
Girl, but you're like, I don't think this is gonna work out. And
we're still friends, but I think it was kind of, you know, and that's kind of the weird thing that keeps working out, as far as, you know, I'm a lot more honest and upfront about a lot of the ways in my life, and, you know, honesty should always be the best policy about these things. And, you know, it's a lot easier to disentangle and walk away, or to kind of have a better understanding once you set those boundaries and find what you actually value. And one thing I will say, I think that's one song on the record that I think I nailed the kind of the artist that I was reaching to, as far, so not a near miss as far as the relationship is concerned, but direct hit on me trying to hit the sweet spot between Alison Krauss and more. I mean, I'm in a suit and without a tie in a theater playing guitar. Lyle Lovett. So and that. So
yeah, all right.
So that entire record was me trying to write my own The Road to Ensenada record.
Oh, I saw Alison Krauss this summer.
No, she's wonderful. I love her. I mean,
she's great. She was with Robert Plant.
Yeah, and surprisingly, those records were. I mean, I think Plant always wanted to be more of a blues singer anyway, and then he kind of just stumbled upon heavy metal, and he's such a, as far as an interviewee and just listening to his life and his story, he is just such a gentleman, as far, you know, mellowed in his later years for sure, but a gentleman to the nth degree. And if there's one song on my record that I would love Alison Krauss to ever hear and maybe sing, I Sleep Better Alone, because that was definitely, I heard her voice whenever I put that pen to paper.
And I think you're right about Robert Plant, because her influence on that whole everything they did was there. It leaned heavily like to her influence, and it took a few bars before you realized that it was Robert Plant's song, but he like folked it out, and it was just wonderful, wonderful arrangement.
Yeah, that is, they say politics is what makes strange bedfellows. No, the arts is definitely what makes the strangest of bedfellows. I mean, you would be. I never want to say that you would be surprised by the people that I am associated with, because I just tend to follow the chemistry wherever I go with anybody that I meet. But they are a very diverse and very magnificent tapestry of different walks of life, and I wouldn't have met those people if I had gone into any other kind of vocation. So I'm, you've probably been in enough jobs where you're standing next to the person on the line. It's like, if we didn't work together, I'd have nothing to do with you. But the fact is that the fact that I get to work with all these people with so many different perspectives and so many rich life experiences, I mean, it is the gift that keeps on giving, this music thing and this art thing. And I'm grateful for a lot of things, but I wouldn't trade the friends that I've made in this journey for anything. I'm happy to say, as far as my recovery is concerned, most of the people who were my friends before I got sober are still my friends now.
Oh, that's good. That's amazing. They stood by you.
Yes. I wouldn't have stood by me, but that's why you got to get out of your own head with this stuff. So.
Right. And it all is a head game at some level. Even being in the music business, the highs and lows. One day you're on top, you think, let's go, it's great. And you're like, oh, it's shit, and
you could be, it has happened. I played for 100 people, and all of them are throwing money in the bucket. To the very next day, I'm playing at a bar and nobody's walking in. So what I feel, if I knew the words to That's Life, popularized by Frank Sinatra, I would sing it right now. But but indeed it is. That is the exact, that is my life. I mean, you've done the gig. I'm sure that's been your life too.
Yeah, I ride the highs and lows. Last weekend was like, all right, it's gone, it's over, it's done, we're moving on. This week, yeah.
Shot down in May.
Right. Like, what's my horoscope? I gotta do the tarot card reading. Get me out of here.
A note on horoscopes. I think it was Shakespeare that says, "The fault is not in our stars; it is in us."
I don't know. TikTok disagrees, because every time I go into TikTok, somebody's giving me my horoscope and tarot card reading. So I don't know, Craig. I think there's something to it.
To each their own.
1 billion TikTok viewers can't be wrong.
Oh, well, excuse me.
It's on social media. It's going to happen.
It must be true then. It must be true.
Oh my goodness. Craig, so you're putting out vinyl.
Yes, I am. I have already put it out. It's a limited edition vinyl release of Letters to the Defendant. We've been talking about it throughout the course of the interview. I'm selling it at my shows, but if anybody out there wishes to send me $35 to my Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal, Zelle, actually. Zelle, I prefer Zelle because that has no fees to it. It's all 10 songs on vinyl, pressed by Hellbender Vinyl out of Lawrenceville, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. They did a fabulous job of the printing. I do not have a copy of them right now on me to show you, but I always envisioned the record as being experience as a vinyl record. So side one kind of sets up the story, where my mind was, how the courtship kind of went through, and then you flip it over and watch it all fall to crap. And so, and because it's just it's an old, it not I hate saying old, but it sounds like something from from a long time ago with that bluegrass influence. It sounds to me, when I first heard it, it's like, this has got to be on a record. So, and I've only printed 100 copies of it. So once I have finally sold all of those records, I will not go back for another pressing. So if you want one, get them while they're here.
And it could be a collector's item.
That's what I'm hoping for. So, I will even sign it, no extra charge.
Yeah, I thought about vinyl. I think it's so cool. I actually have a record player.
I have half a mind to
night.
just say, you know what, I'll throw in the record player for free. Just get these vinyls out of my house. So.
Well, I wish you really good luck. Yeah, any new music coming up with you? What else is going on for you?
Well, the music front, I'm in the process of working on my next record, Sounds Like Me. Ever since I think you and I might be the same. Once one record is finished, we got to move on to the next one, because
it just happens. You don't plan it. You're like, I'm going to let this breathe, and and then you write another one.
And life happens, and I'd had a couple of songs that could have made it on to Letters to the Defendant, but I really wanted to realize it in the soundscapes that I really wanted to explore. So the next record from me is going to be called Sounds Like Me. Just to give you an idea, just the title track, it combines Keith Urban. The chorus I lifted something from The Darkness, if you remember them. I believe in a thing called Love Fame, and the bridge takes heavily from Simon and Garfunkel, kind of over the same riff. But it's so just to kind of set you up that you're going to get curveball after curveball on this record. There's a jam band song. There's a song that kind of lifts from the 1975 motif. There's also a couple country standards, but I think it's gonna spin a couple heads. I'm going for Unorthodox Jukebox by Bruno Mars. He did a record where he just kind of bounced from genre to genre so seamlessly, and that's kind of the marker that I'm having for Sounds Like Me. I've already done a couple demos for it. I've locked down my friend Tyson Leslie for those demos. Hopefully he'll see it through as a producer of this record. And on the other side of it, I'm also working on another record with my friend. I mentioned Megan Pennington of Moonshine Jasmine. She also is the founder and CEO of Scarfire Media, which hosts my podcast, The Craig VELTRI Interview. And we've combined forces for a project under the moniker Moonshine Vagabonds. The album, I think we've agreed, is going to be called Inside the Cabin, and it's going to be a very straight ahead kind of Americana country record, perfect for a show like The Ranch, I believe. And we are in the process. I think we're going to be within the next week. We're going to finish up the songs, and we've already shopped around for producers. Once we lock that down, we hit the studio, and perhaps concurrently, Sounds Like Me and Inside the Cabin by Moonshine Vagabonds will come out around the same time. We'll see. I don't know. If I had a crystal ball, I think I would have made a lot of better decisions in my life. But at the process, these are the things I'm working on. When they come out, keep it locked.
All right. And when you got new stuff, hit me up. We'll have you back on the ranch.
Absolutely.
We are here every Monday, 7 Eastern time. And you can find our shorts on Blast Music 24-minute, or you can go to my YouTube page and you'll find them there too. Everyone, thanks for listening, and we'll see you back.
Listen to the Craig VELTRI Interview. Drops every Friday at midnight Eastern time on the Scarfire Media Podcast Network, the voice of the indie arts.
All right. Maybe I'll show up there. All right.
I have a revolving door policy. You better.
That's it. All right. Sit tight. Hold on.